Well, dear friends, here we have another vlog, just the same, in the same vein as my Dapper Dan's audition vlog. I hate to do this to you, but I'm in that kind of situation. I'm in that kind of mood again. This vlog should be a complete 360, completely different than what you're about to see. I mean, I ought to be over the moon right now. I mean, you can see this VIP laminate and lanyard and this signed poster that I got. I ought to be on cloud nine. Before I start getting ahead of myself, let me just start from the beginning, wherever that may be. I never even know where to start with these things. Okay, so basically what's gone down is these past few weeks have been an absolute nightmare for me. If you've been regularly following my YouTube, you're aware that I had a rough summer financially, because I'm just trying to get my life together. And I'm really sorry, guys. I feel so sad tonight. It really just should have been the best night ever. It's turned out to be, actually today was probably one of the worst days of my life. It's 4:05 a.m. right now on the 24th of March, 2017. And I had something in particular to look forward to over these past few weeks. I've been getting ready for it, and it's been tough. Things are finally starting to get okay again. And yes, I do mean that this time. I know I said that in my my last vlog. I think it was the Almost Out of the Woods vlog. Things are actually starting to get okay now. Getting my money in order, getting my money right, starting to take care of myself the way I'd like to, keep myself groomed, cleaner, not eating as much junk food, etc., etc. And the one of the catalysts for this, what at least gave me some sense of not urgency, but what's the word? Just a reason to expedite the process. JoJo, which is the stage name for Joanna Levesque, or Levesque, I'm not even sure how she pronounces her name actually, is an artist I've loved since I was 13. She had a record, an album called The High Road, and I just fell in love with her. I was enamored by her vocals, the kinds of songs she would put out, her beauty. And I had been under the impression, actually, until very, very recently, that she'd been on a hiatus, maybe even indefinitely. I thought she might have been actually out of the music business. Well, it turns out she was going through some things, and she's back now. She's currently on the Mad Love tour, promoting her album, Mad Love. See, the tour's aptly named. I was ecstatic when I found out that one of the tour dates was in Orlando, my city, my hometown. Well, that's where the nightmare began. Me thinking I could actually pull that off. The meet and greet ticket, the VIP package, which included, if I forget anything, but was not limited to, meeting JoJo, getting one professional photo with her, a Q&A, a signed poster, which I have right here, a VIP laminate and lanyard, which I have right here. Got to show them off again, because those are the only two things I ended up getting. But I'm getting ahead of myself here, since I suspected. A deep cut acoustic song, and early access to merch. I think that was everything. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. That was the VIP meet and greet package. $125. Insanely cheap. Okay. You're talking about at least maybe $500-600 if it's somebody who's really on top. Just to do a 2-second meet and greet. You just say hi, bye, that's it. Or hi, get a photo, bye, that's it. $125. Well, my paycheck didn't come through in time for me to get the meet and greet package for Orlando. I had asked somebody for help. Um, I actually reached out to my mother, from whom I'm estranged, as a matter of fact, and just said, "Look, this is really important to me. This is the situation. Um, my paycheck comes through on the 20th. I'll pay you back." My mother, of course, didn't help me out, so I opted to go to the very next tour date, the following evening. She was in Orlando on the 22nd, just technically 2 days ago now, and she was in St. Petersburg last night. St. Petersburg is about a 2-hour drive from me, although for all intents and purposes, it's really 3 hours. um, because you have to take into account traffic and stopping and other things, other distractions, annoyances, nuisances, obstacles. Uh, I got the VIP meet and greet package, with money I earned working from a job that I got fairly recently back in November. Um, it's nothing related to entertainment, and I'm embarrassed of it, to be frank. But work is work, I suppose. Uh, this was a major purchase, and it was I think it was maybe the first one I'd ever made with my own money. If not one of them, maybe the first one. And this was, I don't know that she'll tour again. So this was a once in it feels like still a once in a lifetime opportunity. After talking to some people tonight, I have my doubts. She might be back into music, but you never know. You can assume all you want, but you got the evidence or lack of on your side, and that's more valuable. I just I was thrilled, and since I purchased the ticket back in December, actually, I guess in my naivete, I knew I was going to be able to find someone, or I thought I was going to be able to find a friend, um, who would help me out with a lift, and I would just pay them a shit ton of cash. As a matter of fact, I was offering $100 cash for it. 50 to 75 for the gas, the rest for the trouble. I thought that was a good number. Um, St. Petersburg is, I don't know if I said this, is about a 2-hour drive. Yeah, I said about a 2-hour drive away from Orlando, where I am. And it's actually interesting that it's across the state, on the other side of the state of Florida. Florida is very long, but it's not very wide. So I was coming from essentially, uh, it's kind of backwards, from here to here. Sorry, it's backwards on the webcam because it's a mirror. And so, I had some, you know, it was a nightmare getting the ticket because of the fact that I would have, obviously, it would have been so easy to get the one in Orlando, so much more comfortable. Um, but then I had to worry about, securing a ride, and it's just, getting the preparations and getting myself in order, getting cleaned up and all that. As I said, it's just been so stressful. I can't tell you. For somebody who's anxious like me, it's just a man killer going through something like this. And I need to talk about this because I feel so disappointed and anxious about there being another chance. And there is anger. I am angry. After some friends that I'd talked to and a roommate of mine, everything had fallen through. And two very sweet, very good friends of mine, the Fawners, they had, were very willing. I eventually not settled on them, but had to settle with them being my means of transportation to and from the concert. They were more than willing to do it. Um, with the caveat, of course, that I paid them, but I mean I was willing to anyway, and they needed the money to make sure that the gas, and in case they wanted to get something to eat while they were there waiting for me. Today, I only had about 5 hours of sleep this morning because I was getting ready, and I was so excited. I just kept waking up, and then I think my roommate was doing some laundry, which even with earplugs, it was the laundromat or the laundry room is right outside. It's right beyond my wall, um, the wall where the head of my bed sits, and so I only got about 5 hours of sleep, maybe a little over, but that's still a terrible. I would never recommend that running on 5 hours of sleep. I'm amazed I don't feel worse than I do right now. As a matter of fact, but then again, you got the overwhelming sorrow, deep despair clouding it. If there is any physical fatigue or whatever physical effects from the lack of sleep, I wake up and I'm feeling groggy. I'm feeling terrible, but I'm excited. Just can't wait. And we hit the road. I wake up at 2:45 just to try and get myself at least enough hours of sleep to where I'm not falling asleep, standing up. And that was my first mistake. I probably would have done better. It would have been a better idea to just power through, just not sleep at all, or sleep 1 hour, and then crash hard the next day. Because you see, we ended up leaving at about 3:45. Took him about 15 minutes to get here. Right, it took me a while to get dressed. As you can see, I'm dressed up, dressed in the nines. We are about an hour out of Orlando, just on the outskirts of Kissimmee, I think. Even we're about 59. It was about 59 miles left to St. Petersburg. When all of a sudden, we're coming out from under a tunnel, and the tire blows out. It just goes flat. I don't know. I haven't talked to them since about it. I don't know if it was a nail or what. They can't put the spare on. By the way, the road ranger showed up pretty quickly. Actually, not even 5 minutes later. I guess they pay attention to those things. But the problem is, since it's a Mercedes, the bolts on the spare don't work. They need different bolts. So I, just the thing I need to stress here is that the expression "when it rains, it pours" has been very much true for the situation. There have been a lot of hiccups in this process. Not only has it been stressful just getting everything done, but there have been a lot of hiccups, and particularly with the ride, different friends talking to, and each one's fallen through. Other things which I won't get into for the sake of time and clarity. And this one was, it was Murphy's Law dictated this whole thing for me. It truly did. It dictates a lot of my life, but this in particular. And with this happening, the tire just going flat. I just said, I mean, the universe clearly does not want me getting this experience. I mean, I don't know what I've just been a fan. I've just loved her. I don't know what I did wrong here, or maybe what I did to deserve this. But that just sounds narcissistic. um, it just hurts. It does. I knew that I probably was gonna not be able to find a way out of this one. The flat tire. But I desperately scrambled, and another friend of mine, bless his heart, he's one of the best friends I have ever had in my life, or will ever have. I won't mention his name because it's on YouTube, but I'd love to name drop him because he's a saint. He's a hell of a good man. Because I had problems on my phone with the card situation on Uber. It's actually a design flaw for the Uber app that you can't remove a card remove a card once it's been canceled and switch the payment method. Which you can leave that in the comments if you've ever had that problem if you use Uber. A friend of mine got me an Uber with the caveat that I'd pay him back. and it took me about an hour and 35, 40 minutes after the Uber came. It took him about 15 minutes to get to where I was because I was, in the middle of a busy road. And I had not been informed, you understand, that the meet and greet with the Q&A and the photo and the acoustic song was scheduled for 6 o'clock. They brought them in at 5, and it was scheduled for 6. Um, I get there at about 7:45. Once again, you heard me right. I left my home at 3:45 p.m. and I didn't get there till about 7:45 p.m. And I knew what was coming, and I went up to every guy I could see, every which the staff, by the way, it was at the State Theater in St. Petersburg. The staff, big ups to them. They get a thumbs up because they're good boys. They do well at their job, and they don't take it too seriously. They do well, but they don't take it too seriously. Rather, I just asked each and every one of, is there? I'm a meet and greet. I'm a VIP, and I may have missed the meet and greet. Is there any chance that it's still going on? Got my got my ticket, got my wristband right here. Got in and went and talked to people at the merch table because they actually worked with JoJo. Maybe that, I thought maybe that would help. The meet and greet was scheduled for 6 o'clock. I definitely missed it. I missed the Q&A, everything. I think maybe the Q&A actually was at 5. I had heard conflicting reports. I had heard the meet and greet started at 6, but I think at 5 they may have done the other things. I've learned my lesson. This is never going to happen to me again, and I give anything to just get one more chance at this, preferably for around the same price because of how much money I am out. $125 plus, I forget what I think it was something like $2 only, but still, the ticket insurance was the ticket insurance was $7. I think the fee for the website Ticketmaster was $2. So it's a lot of money that it just went right down the toilet just to get the chance to meet JoJo again, get a Q&A, get a photo. I doubt it'll happen again, especially the Q&A, but I was just so looking forward to it. It's just such a massive disappointment. I can't tell you. And I hope, in a way, I hope you guys can relate, people who are watching this, but in a way, I hope you don't. I wouldn't wish this on anyone, what I'm feeling right now. No one. My enemies, even as much as you guys who I love. You people, probably friends of mine, and or just people who enjoy my content. This is why I do that. Why I play music and do this sort of thing on YouTube, do impressions, whatever, talk. I wouldn't wish this on anyone. I get my signed poster, get my VIP laminate lanyard, but I mean they're pretty much good for nothing at this point. At least this is. And I think maybe there's a chance I'll just get to meet her out because I'm one of those guys who stands outside afterwards at the tour bus and waits for them to come out and talk to the fans. I watched the show. I got to see the concert, the concert was phenomenal. It's like you have the surface delusion or illusion, better said, of an artist you respect and admire. You actually see them in the flesh, and they're still very much inhuman in a way. But then they talk about things, and she talked about things tonight, and I'll insert some pictures, the pictures that I got at the end of this video, or at the beginning, I'm not sure. She talked about things, and the way she performed, it's just, I got a whole new level of respect for her. It was insane. The same thing happened with Christina Cimarelli when I saw Cimarelli live. Um, Actually at the Plaza, which was where JoJo was when she was here in Orlando, which is also where Christina Grimmie was when she was murdered. So I was actually surprised JoJo dedicated her show night before last to Christina, which was great. But I'm surprised the place is still even open. Honestly, to have they tried to get it shut down, but just they better have on that note new metal detectors or pat downs, at the very least pat downs, but that's neither here nor there. Uh, I gained a whole new respect for. I go off on tangents a lot. I gained a whole new respect for JoJo, and I just, I mean, the show was really good. She turns out it's part of her shtick, part of the show for this tour that she would bring people up on, bring a guy up on stage and fucking lap dance for him. And I definitely, I tried hard. I screamed as hard as I and tried to get her attention, but I wasn't called up on stage. Um, that would have been insane. Like she blindfolded the guy, tied his hands behind him, and did the whole spiel. Did a lap dance, and yeah, that bummed me out too. I thought maybe there was a chance for that as well. That was another thing. I was like, okay, maybe that'll save it. Maybe that'll save this horrific evening, terror of a night. But that wasn't the case. The show was really good, but you may remember that because my ride there had fallen through and I had taken an Uber the rest of the way, you may recall that that may have been an indicator that I didn't have a ride home. Well, the friend of mine who had gotten me the Uber the rest of the way had told me to just keep him posted, and he would do something. He would take care of it, help me out one last time if none of my other friends came through. So I was thinking about that through the show. It was bothering me. It was worrying me, obviously, but I tried to enjoy the show as best I could, and it was really great. Big ups to JoJo. She's just incredible to the nth degree. Um, After the show, I waited by the tour bus, and she never came out. I waited as long as I could, and there were two other people there who seemed to be friends with some of the backup singers and the tour management personnel. And I think they might have just been waiting for me to leave. Like I hope that wasn't the case. Like they weren't saying, "Oh, have her come out once he leaves," because I was kind of getting on their nerves. I think because they noticed that I was trying to get a ride home, asking people to use their phone, and just talking too much. But we sang a little bit, we laughed, we told our stories, we had a good time. Maybe I didn't get on their nerves, maybe I'm just getting paranoid, but it did seem kind of suspicious that they just kept waiting around there when it was actually made pretty clear by other people that she wasn't gonna come out of the tour bus. Because and the reason for that, by the way, is that usually they do. Usually artists will after a while. If you wait around long enough, don't be discouraged by this story. Wait around. I think I've said this before. If you're a fan of an artist and you want to meet them, wait by their tour bus until you absolutely know for a fact they're not coming out. Because usually they will. Even after what happened to Christina Grimmie, I think it's still safe to say they will. Um, but this time that wasn't the case, and it did seem kind of suspicious that they were still waiting around when they knew she wasn't going to come out. But I did get, which I'll also insert, I did get photos with the lead singer from the opening act band, which was actually really good. And I got some photos with some of JoJo's band and some other people. But it was a I got really scared because it ended up being, you know, after midnight out on the streets of St. Petersburg, totally alone. I tried to go to a Greyhound bus station to maybe get some sleep and wait till 10 o'clock when I could take a Greyhound bus home in the morning. The station was closed, and they obviously, the lights were off, the doors were locked, they wouldn't let anybody in. So I was panicking. I kept my cool, but I was panicking on the inside. I thought, well, there's nothing, I'm not going to be able to get out of this. Well, because I had been under the impression also that Uber or Lyft would not take me all the way from St. Petersburg back to Orlando. It would be too much of a distance. So they couldn't go something over 100 miles. Well, I finally reached out to my mother again. I told her the situation, and thankfully she ended up like it took some resistance, but thankfully she didn't end up leaving me out there. Uh, and she did she looked it around, looked it up, and turns out you can get an Uber. In fact, from St. Petersburg to Orlando, it's about 120 bucks. And she even told me not to pay her back, which I feel awful. Even though, you know, to be perfectly frank, my mother and I can't stand each other. We have a terrible, as I said, we have a terrible relationship. We don't really even have one. In fact, so it was just like icing on the cake for this awful, awful, dreadful night, dreadful experience. Just unlucky experience. That's what we'll call this. The most unlucky experience I've ever had. I think certainly nothing stands out like this did. I'll tell you that much. Um, so yeah, my mother thankfully ordered me an Uber and took about 2 hours, actually a little less than, to get home. I got home about 2:30, 3 o'clock around there. After leaving at about 12:15, 12:30. And you know the Uber driver was great. We had a nice talk about politics, social issues, music, uh, places in the U.S., people, areas. But it just was so hard because I'm just racked with disappointment, guys. I really am. So I'm sure there's more to talk about with it, but I think I've said just about everything there is to say. If I left anything out, I guess it's not important. I just, I don't know, just an all-around bummer. But next time, I'm coming for you, JoJo. Be ready for me. This time, I'm going to make sure that I meet you properly and sing for you, which I was going to plan to, which I was planning on doing. Um, and it was one of the backup singers actually came out, and one guy said, "Okay, can you I send you the Snapchat and then you show it to her?" I should have done that too. I was trying to once she came out again, but she was, you know, she got distracted by other things. She was trying to pack up at the bottom of the tour bus. They had a little trunk, like, compartment type thing for suitcases, which is cool. But yeah, she got distracted. The point is, and I didn't really push for it because I didn't want to. You know, she was already being hounded. I didn't want to push any further, push my luck. So that never ended up happening. Not that anything would have come from it anyway, but you never know. I am bummed about that too. It's just see so many disappointments. I gotta end this. I'm gonna have to end this. JoJo State Theater, St. Petersburg, March 23rd, 2017. Almost a total bust. Great show, but so much missed out on. So silly to say, but I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Um, thank you so much for watching. Next video, I promise it'll be a happier note, alright? I just need some time to get over this one. Thanks so much for watching. This is your old pal CK Blackwood, signing off.